Hello everyone and welcome to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at these problems where they give you a table and you're going to fill out the table and then you're going to put it on a graph. This is the full length version of this lesson where we sort of go in depth and look at every type of problem that you could get. If you want the short version where we just sort of go through it really quickly, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this lesson, you should feel comfortable with adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing positive and negative numbers, or you need to have a calculator that can do it for you, and you should know how to graph. If you want a refresher on any of those concepts, I will link it in the description below. All right, let's take a look at number one here. So it says complete the table, graph the function. And it tells us this is what we're graphing, y equals x plus 2, and then it gives us some x values here on the left, okay? So the original function is y equals x plus 2. And we're going to take these x values one at a time and plug them in. So the first x value on the table is 0. So we're going to replace this with 0. And now we just solve y equals 2. So that's what goes in our table here. We put in 0, we get 2. And now we're going to repeat that process for the next number on the list. So instead of putting in 0, we're going to put in this 1. So now when I put in 1, we do 1 plus 2. That is 3. Okay? And then we're going to repeat that process. We're going to put in 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And we should be able to see the pattern here, right? These are increasing by plus 1. These are also increasing by plus 1. So this goes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that we have our coordinates, let's clean this area up a little bit. Now that we have our coordinates, we're going to graph these. So let's take these one at a time. The first coordinate is 0, 2. Well, on a graph, 0, 2 is here. Okay, this is 0, 2. Now, we look at our next pair of coordinates. 1, 3. 1, 3. That goes here. 1, 3. And then our next pair of coordinates. 2, 4. 2, 4 goes here. And then the rest of our coordinates, 3, 5 and 4, 6 go here. And you can see we've got our straight line here, and then you just sort of connect your dots as best you can in a straight line. And we have our solution, right? We completed the table and we graphed it. Okay, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it is time for you to try this problem. This is very similar to the one that we just did, so go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video and see if you can do it, and we will check your answer in just a second here. Okay, now that you've had some time to work on this problem, let's check your answer in 3, 2, 1. So we should have plugged in 0 to start, and that gave us 5. And then this follows the same pattern as before. Oh no, oh, it skips, right? It goes plus 1, but then it goes plus 2. So you got to be careful here. So let's try plugging in our numbers here. So we plugged in 0, we got 5. Now let's plug in 1. Not that way. Let's plug in 1, we get 6. Plug in 2, you get 7. Plug in 4, you get 9. Plug in 5, you get 10. And then when you graph them, you should have done 0, 5 goes here, 1, 6 goes here, 2, 7 goes here, 4, 9 goes here, 5, 10 goes Not there, because that's 610. Let's try here, 510. Boom, connect our dots, and there you have your answer. Now for this problem, it looks a little different because we've got an ugly fraction, we've got some negatives, so let's take a look at this one. The good news is we still follow the same process, which is we do -1/2 x minus 6, and we're going to replace the x first with a -10. Now, a little reminder here. When you see that fraction right next to the variable, there's an invisible multiplication symbol. So this is saying -1/2 times -10 minus 6. Okay? PEMDAS says, or GEMDAS, or order of operations says that we multiply first. So I do -1/2 times -10. You can do that by hand, in your head, in a calculator. That should give you 5 minus 6, and 5 minus 6 gives you -1. All right. Let's try another one here. So what happens if we plug in -6? -6. So again, we do -1/2 times -6, which is 3. Then we do 3 minus 6, which is -3. Oops. And let's do the next one. All the way down the line, we plug in 2. -1/2 times 2 is -1. Minus 6 will give me -7. Plugging in the 6 gives me -3 minus 6, which is -9. And 8 should give you, let's see, -1/2 times 8 is -4, should give you -10. All right, and then when you graph this, so the first coordinate is -1, -10. So that's left 10, down 10, that's here. So here's -1, -10. Then the next one is -6, -3. So that would be here. -6, -3. Then the next one nice, I made a little mistake here. I plotted -1, -10 when it should have been -10, -1. I reversed it. So let's fix that. So -10, -1 would have been here. Okay, I think that's going to be better. All right, then we're doing 2 -7, so 2 -7 is here. Then we did 6 -9, which is here. And then we did 8 -10, which is here. 8 -10. And then you just sort of draw the straightest line that you can. And done. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try this problem on your own, and we will check your answer in just a second. Okay, now that you've had some time to work on this problem, let's check your answer in 3, 2, 1. So we should have done y equals 8/7x, minus 1. When you plugged in -7, you were doing 8/7 times -7. That should have given you -8 minus 1, which gave you -9. For 0, you should have gotten -1, and for 7, you should have gotten 7. All right. So now, when you plotted these, you should have gone -7, -9, which is left 7, down 9. So that's here. Then you should have done 0, -1, which is here. And for the last 0.7 comma 7 is here. And then you just sort of draw as straight a line, more straight than mine. And there you have your graph. All right, for this problem, there's something a little bit different here. Maybe you notice that there is no x, okay? So how do you plug in your x values that they give you? You know, like we would normally take that -8, plug it in for the x, and then solve it, but there's no x here. So the good news is you don't have to solve anything. This says that y equals -10. It doesn't matter what x is. So that means for the first problem, y equals -10. For the second problem, y equals -10, -10. They all equal -10. And so when we graph this, -8, -10, here's the first coordinate. -8, -10. The second coordinate is -1, -10, which is here. And then for the last one, 3, -10 goes here. And so you can see that this is a flat horizontal line. Okay. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own. We will check your solution here in just a second. All right, now that you've had some time to work on this problem, let's check your answers in 3, 2, 1. All right, so the problem says y equals 1, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then when you graph this, -10, 1 goes here, -8, 1 goes here, -6, 1 goes here, 1, 1 goes here, 3, 1 goes here, and we have our flat horizontal line. Okay, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.